So this is the Coachman Amara 564. I'm going to take you around the van, show you how it operates. In front of the van you've got the jockey wheel, hitch and handbrake, which will demonstrate to you in person here on site. Front locker, you've got your gas bottle with your gas valve on top, and you've got reverse thread fitment that goes into the front of the bottle itself, or into the neck of the bottle, should I say. You then got a yellow gas shut-off valve on the top right-hand side of the regulator, and your leg winder in the front locker also. Down each side of the van, you've got your wind down legs to stabilise the caravan. You'd never lift the caravan with these legs, they are just there for stabilising. If you lift the van with the legs, it could potentially damage the floor of the caravan. Then got your trim heating vent on the side of the van, which you can remove to allow it to breathe out to atmosphere rather than not igniting, etc. So essentially it just lets it breathe, heating hot water system when it's on gas. You've then got your water pump connection. You've got the blue trigger at the bottom, which you pull back on the pump to release it, and the same to put it in. You pull back the trigger and push in, and then you'll drop the water pump down inside the aqua roll itself. You've then got your battery box with mains power lead coming into the side of the van, and again we'll demonstrate that while we're here on site, the motor mover and the motor mover power switch and how that works. Two fridge vents on the side of the van allow the hot air to come out the back of the fridge unit. Behind one of these is also a gas flue for when you're running the fridge system on gas. It'll also take in some cool air to cool the back of the fridge unit. Motor mover we'll demonstrate here on site, and we'll also torque the wheel nuts so you can see they've been tightened correctly before the van leaves site. Then got your toilet flush tank, which takes 3.5 litres of water and a cap full of the pink fluid. Then in the bottom here you have your toilet waste cassette. When you open it up, you pull up the yellow handle and pull the cassette towards you to release it from the side of the van. The neck turns out and the yellow cap is a measure for the fluids. You've then got a yellow pressure relief button on top of the cassette, so when you're tipping the waste away it doesn't spit and splatter back at you. But that cassette will take 1 litre of water and a capful of the blue fluid. On the rear of the van, you've got your wind down legs on either side. Then in the middle, you've got two pipes that look a bit like exhaust pipes. You'll have two bits of grey pipe that go into them larger diameter holes on the outside. They'll drop down inside the waste master, and that is essentially where your waste water will come out of. Obviously your toilet waste is in that cassette on the side, so you haven't got to worry about that coming out of there. You've then got your storage locker for underneath the bed at the rear of the van. 3-pin socket, so you've got power coming out to your awning. Vent for your heating, so it comes out into your awning also. And then your barbecue gas point and your other wind down leg. Go inside the van. Very simple to use control panel above the door. You've got your, let me just wait for that, mains power on, internal lights on, water pump on, voltmeter, and your awning light for the outside of the caravan. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go underneath the seat on the right hand side here, and we're going to make sure the yellow drain down valve is closed so we can fill the water system up. So you'll see just down there is 2 yellow valves. Those 2 yellow valves, prior to filling the water system, both need to be parallel with the floor. If they're upright and pointing towards the bottom of the seat, all the water out the system will drain straight onto the floor under the van. So like I said, prior to filling, parallel with the floor, and then you'll be able to move on to the next step of filling the water system. So to fill the system up, once you've got them valves in the right position, you'll come over to each tap on board the caravan. Now I've already filled the water system up, so you'll notice the system is already full. But you'll open the taps up, all of the taps open on the hot side of the water system. You'll notice another control panel above the door. When you turn on the water pump, you'll get a red light appear. But like I said, you need to open the taps first, then turn on the red, the pump switch itself. Once you've got water flowing out of every tap continuously on board the van, you can then shut all of the taps off, and you'll be able to start warming the water in the system, on the water system. So to be able to do that, you'll come down to underneath the front seat on the left hand side, on the right hand side here. The switch at the bottom is your electric water heating, so you'll turn that on if you connect it to mains power, and that'll allow the water system to warm up. The top switch here says Ultra Store above it, but think of it as a water store. Will allow you to operate the water system on gas. Spin the grey dial round to the gas symbol just here. You get a green light appear in the background here to say it has ignited. It will actually fail in a moment because the gas bottle is not actually turned on, so you get a red light appear next to the green light. On gas, you can actually control the water temperature between 30 and 70 degrees of water temperature. However, when you're on electric, it's actually a preset temperature of between 35 and 40 degrees of temperature. So if you're showering on board the van, I would advise you use the gas as a boost system to boost the water. So you'd ignite it a couple of minutes before, just so it starts warming up, and make sure it's ignited, and then select the water temperature you want it to be when you're showering on board the van. Like I said, whichever number's above the green light is the temperature the water system will warm up to. If you want to turn off the gas supply to the water heater, spin the dial to the off position on the side here, and it will turn the gas supply back off. So that's your water heating on gas and electric. Next up, we're going to go to the electric heating on board the van. So as you come in the door on the right hand side here, you'll actually see another switch. And this switch is for your electric heating on board the van. Down the side here, you've got a 500, 1000 or 2000. That's essentially the amount of power that is coming into the caravan from the caravan site you're on. So for instance, when you arrive on the site, if you ask in the site office, they'd advise you of what amount of power you could run to the heating system. Here on site we can run a maximum of 500 watts into each van. The dial here in the centre is a control, or your thermostat essentially, for the heater itself. The higher you go with the number, the warmer the heater will be, and very similar to the gas system, whichever number's above the green light is the temperature it will warm up to. So once it's on, for instance, number 5 over the green light, and that is the temperature we're going to warm the heater up to. To turn the heater back off, you'll spin it round to the off position on the side here, and then the heating will be completely isolated on electric. You can also run the heating on gas, which again is very simple to do. You'll spin this dial around to between 10 and 9 on top here. Hold down the gas valve and hit the igniter at the same time. So you'll need to continue to hold down the gas valve while you're pressing the igniter. Once it has ignited on gas, you'll have a pilot light in this window down here next to that silver tab that you see just there in the window. And at that point, you'll continue to hold down the gas valve for a further 5 to 10 seconds. Once it's been running for 5 to 10 seconds and you've had the gas valve held down, you'll slowly release the gas valve and you'll be able to control the temperature of the heater on gas on the dial on top. Now with this particular heater you can run blown air heating also, and that's what the dial's for on the right hand side. So the little vents you see around the van, like you've got in your car, you can control them off the switch just here. The dot at the bottom here is to allow the heat out the front of the heater. The wave symbol is continuous blown air, and you can control the fan speed on continuous blown air on this dial on top. On the opposite side, on the A, it's automatic blown air, so essentially it cuts in and out with the thermostat on board the van. So like I said, when it's on the A, if the heater is set, if the gas or the electric heater is set to a certain temperature, every time it drops below that, the blown air system will kick back in on the automatic side. Like I said, on the dot in the centre, the heat will just come out the front. Next thing we go to is the fridge system. Very, very simple to use. Got power on. When it loads, it's going to automatically go to the gas, which once it clears the camera up, which it should do in a second. There we go. We're working on gas, or it's trying to ignite on gas at the moment. In a moment it's going to fail to ignite, so it'll actually start flashing the blue light here because that's the pilot light, and it'll also bring up a 9 symbol here with a spanner next to it. If it ignites on gas, the blue light will stay fixed blue as it is at the moment. Like I said, it will take a few moments to go to the fail mode at the moment. When you're on gas, you can control the temperature of the fridge on the button on the right hand side, and the higher them bars go, the colder the fridge will be. You've got 240 mains, which is working off your 240 supply on site, and again you'll use the button on the right hand side. 12 volt mode is for when you're towing down the road. So essentially you can use the fridge as a cool box to get the beers and wine nice and cold before you arrive on site. You'll connect the caravan up to the car, check the lights are working, etc. You'll then come inside the van and turn the fridge on. You won't need to have the control panel above the door. You can leave all of those switches in the off position for the fridge to work. But like I said, it will only work as a cool box. It won't completely chill the fridge, and the power button on the end here for temperature button is completely irrelevant when you're on 12 volt mode. Again, it's flashing at the moment, with a 10 error code and a spanner symbol to let me know there is no 12-volt supply going to the fridge, because like I said, it's the 12-volt supply from the car, not the caravan. The last thing we're going to go through on the inside of the caravan, because I'm pretty sure everyone can use a cooker, grill and hob obviously. Got the microwave above as well, which again works off the 240 mains. Fairly self-explanatory, is the toilet system in the bathroom. In this particular van, you've got a pump flush, so you pull the handle up and press down to flush the toilet system. In the toilet bowl, you'll see at the minute there is the water in there. However, when I open the waste flap down below, it allows the waste into the cassette. So the handle I open was this one just here. Closed position, open position when you're using the loo. The toilet seat does turn for your convenience, as you can see. However, when you're removing the waste cassette from underneath the van, you need to make sure it's square on with the back of the toilet, as it is now, because it has two locking tabs in place on the bottom of the cassette. So when the toilet, in the bottom of the toilet seat area, so when the toilet seat is turned, it won't allow you to remove the cassette while the toilet is being used. On the side of the toilet, you do have a full indicator light there to let you know when the toilet to waste cassette is full. As I said, this is a Coachman Amara. Thank you for watching. We appreciate the business and we look forward to seeing you here on site soon. Thank you very much for now. Bye bye.